Hi, Jon Beck here in amazing Oregon, testing out Suzuki's new 2025 DR-Z4S. Now this bike is replacing the legendary DR-Z400, and this new 2025 model has a very high bar to clear in that it's replacing a bike that has remained virtually unchanged since its introduction in the year 2000. And I have to imagine people overseas are possibly even more excited about this new bike because this bike last year was not available in Europe due to not being Euro 5 compliant. Now this year it is by virtue of having catalytic converters front and rear. That said, the North American bike is not Euro 5 compliant because it lacks the precious metals in a rear catalytic converter. Regardless, the bike is now available worldwide. So that said, what do you get in the 2025 DR-Z4S? When you look at it right away, you can see it's a slimmer, more redesigned, more kind of modernized package. Underneath that new exterior, what you have is a completely redesigned double cradle steel frame. You've got an aluminum subframe and an aluminum swing arm. You've got wider redesigned foot pegs. You've got an LED headlight. You've got a 270 millimeter rotor up front now, a 240 millimeter rotor in the rear, and you've got a 2.3 gallon fuel tank that they claim you can get 155 miles out of. One thing that there might be some gripes about is the bike still does have a 5-speed gearbox. Now that said, was I missing a 6th gear today? No, not at all, because we were mainly on like gravel roads, some single track, a lot of twisty pavement. And honestly, because of how they've redesigned the motor, the torque now pulls all the way from the low to the high RPM range. I never really missed a 6th gear at all. In fact, 5th gear pulls very well, all the way from 40 up into the mid 70 miles an hour we got to. I can see maybe back home if I'm on one of these super slabs in Southern California, droning all day could be a little bit buzzy. Honestly, never got there today, never missed it. So mechanically, I think the transmission in this package, especially in this environment, is incredible. What I mentioned earlier about the motor, the torque now has been improved so it pulls throughout the rev range. The motor is another thing that they have massively redesigned. It's got things like a new lighter piston, it's got now titanium intake valves, it's now dual spark, it's got a larger throttle body so you've got less hesitation and bogging. What the immediate impression of this motor comes from, I think, is the new electronics package. This bike is now fuel injected, of course. It's got a fly-by-wire throttle, and it's got a redesigned LCD display, not a TFT display, but I honestly thought the LCD was very clear and pretty cool. Inside that LCD, it houses what's called the SIRS. That stands for Suzuki Intelligent Ride System. Now this system has 3 power delivery modes, 4 traction control modes, and 3 ABS modes. The power delivery modes simply are A, B, and C. Traction control modes are 1, 2, gravel, or off. And the ABS modes are simply ABS on, front on, rear off, or completely defeated. The 3 power delivery modes of A, B, and C, A being the most aggressive, C being the least. If you look at a curve of those, C you can think of it as comfort mode. It's very mellow, it kind of starts off mellow. I should say all 3 modes, A, B, and C, all reach the same peak power. It's just how you arrive there that's different. So the C mode starts off mellow and eventually gets you there, but it gets you there in a more relaxed way. B mode, completely linear. Tended to be a preferred mode of mine because you feel the same power delivery throughout the entire rev range, throughout the entire throttle range. A mode is pretty addicting because it hits very quickly, but it does fall off. So that's the thing. You have this initial hit, but then as you start getting up towards the upper end of the throttle, you can feel it fall off a little bit. Now, I'll get back to that in a second. The traction control modes are 1, 2, gravel, off. 1 and 2 played with a little bit. It's just less intervention, a little bit more intervention. Gravel, clearly designed for gravel, off is off. When you get this bike to test it first, I put it in A mode, traction control off, ABS off. I just wanted to see how does the bike perform as just a machine. And the power delivery is honestly pretty incredible, especially in A mode on this bike. And it's so loose and so gravelly and some steep hills and stuff like that here. You really got to be on your toes because this thing's kind of a trail weapon. It can break loose pretty easily. And then I started playing with the modes, and right off the bat, put it in B mode. It just relaxes everything up from the throttle. Put it in gravel mode, and all of a sudden you start spinning out a little bit less. It mellows out in the corners, but you're not losing any power. And I was really impressed by that, having tested gravel modes in the past that can tend to bite you, and you really feel the system intervening and chattering and things like that. My favorite modes turned into B for the power delivery, G for the traction control mode, and that mellowed everything out. The biggest surprise for me, ABS, because generally I hate ABS systems off-road, and today we were in a worst case scenario of a steep downhill gravel coming towards the corner. It's that nightmare we all know when you grab the front brake and it starts chattering or just doing things you don't like. I genuinely was surprised in this one when I put it in the mode of simply leaving the front on, turning the rear off. I never felt it intervene. You got to squeeze the front brake a little bit harder. So it just basically made the whole day very, very much more relaxed. Now, were I racing, probably would still want to shut everything off because that redesigned chassis, the whole thing feels snappy and stiff. The motor feels like it responds good. Just wanting to kind of chill, throwing it in all those modes, you can get through everything. You get through it very fast, and it was just a very relaxed ride. My takeaway from this test is you've got 25 years of development since 2000 on the DR-Z400. All of that physical work went into the bike for 25 years. Meanwhile, technology was evolving in the background. And then 2025, you got this marriage of those two worlds, and it kind of resulted in what really felt like a magical bike. That said, testing a bike in a magical place like this, it's kind of hard not to get that impression. So congratulations to Suzuki for putting on an amazing event. And I am looking forward to getting more time on this bike once I get back home. Thanks for watching.